This man wants to be your electricity supplier here in the UK. Yep, that's right. The same guy that sells electric cars, home batteries, and lands and occasionally blows up the odd rocket or two. But now he wants to power your home. Will you switch? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, I'm sure some of you have already seen this in the news, but Tesla has applied to Ofgem for a license to become an electricity supplier here in the UK. So today we're going to dig into exactly what that means, look at what they could bring to the market, and ask the question, do you trust Elon Musk to be your electricity supplier? So a subsidiary of Tesla called Tesla Energy Ventures has applied to Ofgem for a license to supply energy here in the UK. Now, this is not a new venture because Tesla has held a generator license since 2020, but now they're actually looking to supply that energy direct to consumers. Now, to be clear, this is not a dual fuel situation. So they're only looking to supply electricity. They're not getting involved in the supply of gas. So for customers that would think about switching, if you have a dual fuel situation, then you would still have to find another supplier for your gas supply. Now, looking at this from Tesla's point of view, they've already got 250,000 cars roughly on the road in the UK. They've got tens of thousands of Powerwalls installed. So there's probably a ready-made audience who would at least stop and listen to their pitch. And if you take a look across the Atlantic in Texas, they're already rolling this out with what they call VPPs, virtual power plants. This is where they connect up lots of homes with Tesla Powerwalls, and they use that to supply energy to the grid when the grid needs it the most, and they then charge those Powerwalls when energy is the cheapest on the grid. Now, it's really easy to imagine they'd want to bring that VPP technology here in the UK. But would it work? Now, let's be very clear here. Nothing that is being proposed by Tesla at this point is new. In fact, just about everything that they're proposing already happens today. Whether you're with Octopus, you're with E.ON, you're with one of the other providers, cheap rate tariffs, the ability to charge batteries at low cost overnight, the equivalent of VPPs. They're sometimes called different things here in the UK, but if you look at something like Octopus Intelligent Flux, where they control your battery, then that's a VPP. So nothing that is being proposed is new. So what are Tesla going to bring to the market? Now, one of the things about having a deregulated market here in the UK is that it is super easy to change suppliers. In fact, I know somebody recently who changed suppliers without actually meaning to. They were actually getting a quote from another supplier, clicked the wrong button on the sign-up form, and before they knew it, they'd changed suppliers. So this is probably what Tesla are hoping for, is that they can come into the market. They've already got an established brand. They've also got a whole load of customers who have their app installed because they either have a car or a Powerwall that they can market this to. And it's really, really easy for those customers to say, hey, I'll give it a try. But there has to be an incentive. There has to be something that makes you say, I'm going to leave E.ON or Octopus or whoever you're with today and switch to Tesla. Now, given there's no obvious technological reason to change because everything that Tesla are proposing is already available from the other suppliers, really the only way they can compete is on price. Or for the odd Tesla fanboy, loyalty to the brand. But for the vast majority of people, it will be about price. If Tesla can provide electricity at a cheaper rate, then the likelihood is people will switch. But here's the downside of that. Competing just on price alone in a deregulated energy market means the competitors, Octopus, E.ON, EDF, those guys, they can change their prices as well. So if all you're competing on is price, then this could generate a price war. And that can only be good for consumers. So how are Tesla going to make a splash in the market? Well, as I said earlier, today there are approximately 250,000 Teslas on the road. There are tens of thousands of Powerwalls out there. So there are a ready-made audience of people who already have the Tesla app installed. And if the pricing is right, it's a very easy proposition to convince those customers, hey, we can take care of everything all in one app for you. So if you want to charge your car or charge your house batteries, or you want to take advantage of special offers that we're rolling out, it can all be done from within one app. And ultimately, people want that simplicity. They want that convenience. Now, the one advantage that Tesla has in entering this market that some of the other smaller providers don't have is they have that audience already sitting there. All of the people that have the Tesla app, whether it's people who actually have a Tesla car or use the Tesla supercharger network to charge other brands of cars, or you have a Powerwall on your home, all of those customers, I can guarantee you on day one, will start getting advertisements in their Tesla app saying, hey, we can now supply your power. And most people just want a bit of convenience in their life. So having it all in one app just makes life that little bit easier. And that might be the small push that people need to push them over the edge to become Tesla Energy customers. Now, they could also be bundling in perks here. What if you were a Tesla Energy customer and you could get 10% off a Tesla Powerwall? Or your referral code on a Tesla was worth twice as much if you were a Tesla Energy provider. There's a lot of different things they can do here to kind of sweeten the pot to get people to move. Now let's go back to the VPPs, the virtual power plants, for a moment. Because although it seems simple, tens of thousands of people with Powerwalls, Tesla want to be the energy provider, look at all that capacity that they have in the network. Well, that's not strictly true, because unlike their grid scale batteries, the Tesla mega packs that they install to store energy when it's cheap and to sell it back to the grid when it's expensive, the Powerwalls that are attached to people's homes are not owned by Tesla. They're owned by the homeowner. So there has to be a proposition that you put in front of the homeowner that says, this is what we would like to do. We would like to take over your Powerwall. We will always make sure that you've got sufficient energy to run your home or charge your car from it. And when we need energy, we can take energy from that Powerwall. Now, there has to be something to sweeten the pot. There has to be something that says, if I'm going to hand over my control of my battery to you, what do I get for it? And that's not been clearly defined yet. Now, to be fair, Tesla have only just applied for their license, so they haven't published anything about what kind of offering they're going to bring to the market, but that's something to be aware of. Unlike grid scale batteries, Tesla do not own the batteries that are on the side of the house, and customers who own a Tesla Powerwall do not have to hand over control of it to Tesla. Being a Tesla owner, I can speak with a little bit of confidence on this. There are a lot of people out there who, in the last 2 years, have changed their opinion on Elon Musk and consequently the Tesla brand alongside it. I know people who have sold their Tesla cars because they do not wish to be associated with that brand any longer. Now, I'm not one of them. I can quite easily separate in my head Elon Musk, the character, from Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, and the tens of thousands of employees who build really great cars. I have had a couple of occasions where people started yelling at me as I was getting into my car because they had strongly held beliefs that nobody should be supporting Tesla and that Elon was somehow, the evil one. But leaving that aside, Elon himself is a polarizing character, and that has done some reputational brand damage to Tesla. So the question I would ask is, what percentage of Tesla owners don't want to get back into bed with Tesla? They might have kept their car for now, but when it comes to time to change their car, will they move off to another brand because they just don't like the way the company is being run? So I think Elon, as a polarizing character, will have some level of impact on people's decisions, whether or not they want to get into bed with Tesla as an energy provider. Personally, I'm not sure that I would. Now, here in the UK, there are companies like Octopus Energy who trade heavily on the sort of friendly, ethical image of an energy company. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not naive enough to know companies are there to make money. But there are different ways you can do that. And I think Tesla's brand right now might be just a little bit too hot for some people. So what could happen next? Well, as I say, Tesla Energy Ventures have just submitted their application to Ofgem. Ofgem generally take anywhere from 6 to 9 months to make a decision. Obviously, if the decision is positive and the license is granted, then Tesla might be able to bring a proposition to market within 12 months of that license being granted. So we could be looking at early 2027 before we actually start to see Tesla coming into the market. Obviously, that gives all of the competitors plenty of time from the minute the license is granted to make sure that their offerings are still competitive should Elon come into the market with a much reduced price. So really, I think for Tesla to be successful here, they really have to come up with a bundle of discounts and things that just make them that little bit different. It needs to have that secret sauce, because it's going to take some energy to convince customers who have been with EDF or with E.ON or with Octopus for a long time that it is worth making the jump. Because although it's very, very easy to switch, if you've had a good experience with your energy company, you might be giving that up moving to Tesla. Now, this is just my personal opinion, but if you're a Tesla customer, you will probably have experienced the Tesla service centers. So when you need your car to go in for servicing, it's all done through an app, through a chatbot. And you get to talk to somebody at the service center who you never have a conversation with other than through the chatbot. And when it works brilliantly. But when it goes wrong and you actually need to talk to somebody, it becomes a nightmare. Now, I suspect Tesla will want to bring a lot of that automation, that technology to their energy provider part of the company. And that means that providing things are going great, you can communicate with them, you can say, hey, where's my bill through the chatbot, and everything will be fine. But when something goes wrong and you actually need to talk to somebody, buyer beware. So what do you think? If Tesla Energy launched tomorrow, let's say it was a penny per kilowatt cheaper than Octopus, E.ON, EDF. Let's say they gave you a penny more for your solar export than those three companies. Would you switch? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. Do you think this is a good thing that Tesla's moving into this market? Do you think it's a bad thing because Elon wants to move into this market? And for those of you that are not based in the UK, are Tesla looking to come into your markets? Or is there something specific about the UK market that they've seen that's made them decide we can make a lot of money out of this? With that, it just remains for me to say thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you found it interesting. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. With that, I'm going to sign off, and if I'm lucky, I will see you back here real soon for another video. Take care. Bye-bye.